Dr. Anthony Fauci says data on the Pfizer vaccine are impressive, and the FDA could approve its emergency use in weeks.
By the time we get into December, we'll be able to have doses available for people who are judged to be at the highest priority to get it first.
But distributing the 2-dose vaccine, stored at sub-zero temperatures, to millions of Americans is complicated.
We anticipate, although there are logistic challenges, that it will be done successfully.
Would you take it?
Well, I'm going to look at the data, but I trust Pfizer, I trust the FDA. If they look at this data and they say this data is solid, let's go ahead and approve it. I promise you, Andrea, I will take the vaccine, and I will recommend that my family take the vaccine.
As for President Trump's comments when a crowd recently shouted, "Fire Fauci,"
don't tell anybody, but let me wait till a little bit after the election.
Dr. Fauci hopes he won't be forced out.
My entire activity, every minute of my life right now, is devoted to trying to end this pandemic. So I would hope that I'm allowed to continue to do that, because I think I do it well. I've been doing it for many, many years.
Dr. Fauci was not part of the president's treatment team at Walter Reed, but was invited to yesterday's task force meeting at the White House.
It was a good meeting.
Now mounting fears the pandemic could get even worse with cold weather and the holidays. What is your advice to the American people going into Thanksgiving?
I think each family is going to have to make a risk assessment about what the risk and benefit of what we all feel is such an important tradition. I have 3 adult daughters who live in 3 separate parts of the country, and they do not want to put their dad at risk. My wife and I are going to have dinner together, a quiet dinner. We're going to get on Zoom, and we're going to talk and smile and laugh and drink and eat with our children who are doing it distally and virtually. I'm proud of my daughters that they were really concerned about their, quote, elderly dad. I hate to use that word, Andrea, but it's the truth.
Americans facing many hard decisions going into a pandemic winter. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News.
From Thursday until the start of December, you must stay at home. You may only leave home for specific reasons, including for education, for work, let's say if you cannot work from home, for exercise and recreation outdoors with your household or on your own with one person from another household, for medical reasons, appointments, and to escape injury or harm, to shop for food and essentials, and to provide care for vulnerable people or as a volunteer. I'm afraid non-essential shops, leisure and entertainment venues will all be closed, though click and collect services can continue and essential shops will remain open, so there's no need to stock up. Pubs, bars, restaurants must close except for takeaway and delivery services. Workplaces should stay open where people can't work from home, for example, in the construction and manufacturing sectors. Single adult households can still form exclusive support bubbles with one other household, and children will still be able to move between homes if their parents are separated. If you're clinically vulnerable or over the age of 60, you should be especially careful to follow the rules and minimise your contacts with others. I know how tough shielding was, and we will not ask people to shield again in the same way, but we are asking those who are clinically extremely vulnerable to minimise their contact with others and not to go to work if they're unable to work from home. I'm under no illusions about how difficult this will be for businesses which have already had to endure such hardship this year, and I'm truly, truly sorry for that. And that's why we're going to extend the furlough system through November. The furlough scheme was a success in the spring. It supported people and businesses in a critical time. We will not end it. We will extend furlough until December.
Austria is back under lockdown, but hours before it took effect, many in Vienna seemed more concerned by their Christmas shopping than the pandemic.
Ich muss ein Geschenk für meine Freundin kaufen.
Ein Geschenk für die Freundin? Das kann nicht 3 Wochen warten?
Nein.
Nein, muss sofort sein? Kaufen vom Lockdown?
Ja, das ist heute der letzte Tag. Wir müssen das ein bisschen ausnutzen.
Ja.
COVID-19 is spreading in Austria, which was a model in the fight against the pandemic back in spring during the first wave. This graph shows the number of people who died from the disease. What worries the government most is the rise in daily infections. Their number is almost 5 times higher than a month ago. In 1 week, the number of occupied ICU beds has jumped by 30%. Chancellor Kurz has a plan combining a lockdown and mass testing.
Wir haben die Slowakei bei diesen Massentests unterstützt. Die hatten ein großes Projekt in den letzten Wochen, wo sie von der Bevölkerung den Großteil getestet haben, haben über 5 Millionen Tests dort durchgeführt und konnten so Zehntausende Infizierte. Wir kopieren gerade dieses Modell und werden.
If Austria gets similar results, it hopes to reopen its economy fast to limit the pandemic's impact. That way, shoppers would resume their Christmas preparations and the country could celebrate what the chancellor called a dignified holiday.